imagine meeting someone for the very first time and, within the first 60 seconds, knowing exactly how they think, what they hide, and what kind of decisions they are likely to make in the future. It may sound like a supernatural ability, but in reality it is a skill mastered by intelligence agencies around the world, and surprisingly, you can start learning it. Today, in this video, we will reveal the secrets of reading and analyzing people's personalities in just the first minute, as if you were one of the highly trained intelligence operatives. But there is a dangerous secret in the fourth point that could make you see everyone around you in a completely different way. Are you ready to discover it? Let's begin. The first secret: in every new encounter, you might think that the conversation starts when the other person begins to speak, but the truth is that the conversation starts before a single word is said. In fact, studies show that more than 70% of communication does not happen through words at all, but through body language, that silent language that whispers the truth to those who know how to read it. Think for a moment, have you ever felt uncomfortable around someone without knowing exactly why? Maybe the reason was the way they stood, their exaggerated movements, or even their silence. Look at the person in front of you with the eyes of an observer, not just a listener. Are their arms crossed as if they are protecting themselves from an invisible threat? Do they maintain steady eye contact or keep looking away as if hiding something? Is their body leaning toward you, showing interest? Or slowly pulling back as if preparing to escape? All these signals, no matter how ordinary they seem, are silent words spoken without sound, expressing what a person truly feels, their fear, anxiety, confidence, or even their desire to manipulate. Now let's apply this in a practical situation. Imagine you meet a new person who speaks confidently, with a steady voice and carefully chosen words, yet something feels off. Watch their hands. A truly confident person usually keeps their hands visible, moving them naturally, as if saying, "I have nothing to hide." On the other hand, someone who is hiding tension often places their hands in their pockets or tightly interlocks their fingers in front of them, as if hiding behind a wall of closed signals. But here comes the biggest trick: what if this person is trained to lie? What if they studied body language and are now using it to deceive you? They speak confidently, smile with precision, control their breathing and gaze like an actor performing on stage. Does this mean you have no way to break through their mask? Of course not. This is where the real mind game begins. At this level, you don't rely on observation alone, you start analyzing the consistency between body language and tone of voice, between appearance and feeling, between what is said and what is left unsaid. And now you might be wondering, if body language hides all these signals, what about the voice itself? How can a person's tone reveal their psychological state, expose their emotions, and perhaps uncover a lie before they even finish their first sentence? That is what you will discover in the next point. Get ready to hear the truth between the lines, the second secret. You may think that words are the strongest element in any conversation, but the reality is completely different. The voice does not only carry words, it exposes emotions and reveals the depths of the soul without permission. In the world of intelligence, speech is never taken at face value. Instead, tone of voice is analyzed like a coded message by an expert cryptographer. Words can be easily fabricated, but tone of voice is an open window into the subconscious mind. Did their voice tremble for a brief moment? Did their speech suddenly speed up for no clear reason? Did they sound comfortable while talking, or was there something inside them trying to stay hidden? All these details, no matter how small, can be subtle indicators of anxiety, stress, deception, or even guilt. Sometimes silence itself speaks. When you ask a simple question and the answer comes after 2 seconds of hesitation, that short pause can mean a lot. It is not always reflection, it may be a desperate attempt to construct a new lie. More dangerous is the fact that the person often does not realize they have exposed themselves through their voice, because tone cannot be fully controlled and often reveals what words try to conceal. Do you want a simple but effective trick used by skilled interrogators? Ask the person to repeat the same answer twice. The first time, the response is usually natural, quick, and follows a familiar rhythm. The second time, if their tone changes or they seem to restructure the answer even though the question is identical, doubt begins to appear. Most people who hide something cannot repeat a lie with the same emotions and the same rhythm. However, as you know, not everyone who changes their tone is lying, and not every honest person answers with perfect stability. This is why careful observation of context is essential, linking what you hear with what you see. Still, the question remains, is tone of voice alone enough to detect deception? It may bring you closer to the truth, but what completes the picture is the face, especially the eyes. The eyes do not know how to truly act, and this is what we will explore in the third point, where we uncover the secrets hidden in glances and revealed through micro-expressions. Are you ready? Because what you are about to learn may change how you see everyone around you. The third secret. You may have heard this phrase before, anyone who avoids eye contact while speaking is probably lying. But let me ask you something, what if the person in front of you is trained? What if they have mastered steady eye contact and learned how to control their gaze to appear completely honest while skillfully hiding the truth? The reality is that this common belief, although partially true, is no longer sufficient in today's world, especially when dealing with those who have learned the arts of persuasion, influence, and psychological manipulation. In intelligence training, agents are taught to use their gaze just like a weapon, yet there is still a way to uncover what lies beyond the eyes. And the secret is consistency. Observe the synchronization between eye movements and the rest of the body signals. Do not focus on the eyes alone, instead ask yourself, are the lips smiling while the eyes show no sign of joy? Is the gaze confident while the eyebrows are tense, hiding subtle anxiety? Do the eyes appear calm while the body moves with nervous energy? Eyes alone do not lie, but a skilled actor can perform through them. The real difference appears when you notice something that does not align. In storytelling, this is called a visual inconsistency. When facial expressions contradict each other, tension is created and suspicion quietly grows. It is like watching a scene in a movie where the character says, "I'm fine," while everything about them screams, "I'm lying." This is where your role as a sharp analyst comes in, going beyond direct observation and breaking down the entire scene. But is this the deepest level of analysis? In truth, intelligence work goes far beyond surface observation. There are thinking patterns and analytical frameworks used by professionals to uncover the ideology driving a person, where a small behavior can reveal an entire mindset. So what are these patterns, and how can a simple analysis expose a person's motives? Psychological background, or belief system? This is what we will reveal in the fourth point, and believe me, from there on, you will never look at people the same way again. The fourth secret. Let me ask you this question, can you discover how a person thinks in less than 1 minute? The answer is yes, if you know where to look and what to listen for. When you start talking to someone for the first time, do not focus only on the topic of conversation. Listen carefully to how they talk about themselves, their problems, and the world around them. Pay attention to the first words that leave their mouth, because they are often unfiltered and not carefully calculated. Do they say things like, "I am always treated unfairly, no one appreciates me, the world is against me," or do they say, "I know I made mistakes, but I am working on fixing them, I am trying to become better"? On the surface, these sentences may sound like simple personal opinions, but deep down, each one reveals a completely different mental framework. The first person sees themselves as a constant victim, living in a hostile world, while the second sees themselves as responsible for their situation and proactive in changing it. In behavioral psychology, this mindset is known as a mental frame of reference, and it is considered one of the strongest indicators of future behavior. Because the way a person thinks now is the same way they will act later, whether in work, relationships, or even during crises. As a simple practical example, if someone tells you they lost their job and then says, "The company never appreciated me and my manager was unfair," this shows they believe the world controls their destiny. But if they say, "I wasn't performing well enough, so I decided to look for a better environment that matches my ambitions," this tells you they take control of their own life instead of waiting for sympathy. This is exactly where intelligence agencies build their deep personality analysis, not only on what a person does, but on how they justify what they do. In every new encounter, do not be naive and do not be overly suspicious. Train your mind to observe, analyze, and connect the signals. Remember, in the first minute, you either see the truth or you may be deceived by it for years. If you think these skills are important, Imagine what could happen when you learn how to use them in negotiations, relationships, and everyday life. Do you want a second part where we reveal even more dangerous intelligence techniques? Write it in the comments, and the game will begin again.